Welcome to Fragmental.
An amusing take on random topics.
Hey, we had such a good thing going on that last episode, we decided to make 2 episodes at it. So let's keep talking about Lollapalooza. All right, so let's talk Lolla.
Yep.
So how many
What you
times have
got?
you gone?
So, if I'm recalling this correctly, from the period of roughly 2010, oh no, 2009 up until last year, I'd only missed one Lollapalooza.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd gone pretty much every year, with the exception of 1 year. Two reasons why. Obviously, I'm a great lover of music. It's in a beautiful city of Chicago. And I get to see one of my really great buddies, Jose, one of our former coworkers that lives out in that area. So I get a lot of benefit from going to this show, and we've gone for many years, man. So it was heck. Even I met some new coworkers where I'm at now that we made some plans to hang out this year's edition of Lollapalooza before it was unceremoniously disposed. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of years.
That's awesome. So being there all those years, what's the best performance you've seen? And if you
Hands
can't narrow it
down.
down, okay, there you
No,
go.
I got one. I got one, man. My favorite performance was by a band named Arcade Fire.
Oh yeah.
They have a song. Or first of all, they just did a tremendous set. I believe, if I recall correctly, it was 2010 was the year that I'm referencing, and they played a tremendous set. Ended on a song called "Wake Up," right? And "Wake Up" as just a great big rock anthem, where there's a slow part that gradually builds and it just bursts into euphoria here in the final 30 to 40 seconds of it, and massive sing along, and it kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier with regards to a sing along, and so they end their show, right? And just like many great and just massive festivals, you got 400,000 people on at Grant Park. It's difficult to get them all out of the park. So what do? You open every single entrance and let them pour into the streets of Chicago. And what made this performance so powerful was not just the performance itself over the course of an hour and a half, hour 45. It was the impact on the crowd afterwards. Again, "Wake Up," this song has a tremendous sing along part. And it's almost like a lullaby where just everyone, it's not even really words, you're just humming and
That's what I was gonna
shouting,
say.
and
Is
it's
that
beautiful. There you go. Yes,
yeah,
sir. Yeah.
great song.
So
Great song.
so hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into the streets of Chicago, and they are singing that part over and over again. You can hear it echo for blocks. Just people refusing to let go of the high of the moment. And for seriously 20 straight minutes, there is wave upon wave of Lollapalooza concert goers still singing along as we all walk to our various cars, the metro, etc., to get to where we're going next. People are so wrapped up in the euphoria of the moment that they just refuse to let it be, and just keeps going and going and going. It was such a tremendous, magical moment to see. As again, you take this massive city, and it's complete. That block, or those blocks around Grant Park are shut down, and just waves of people walking and singing. Just beautiful, tremendous. You won't beat it. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
That was that. I mean, to me, that's hands down. I've seen other, there's some very entertaining ones, right? Like, as I think of other artists that I was like, wow, like that was interesting. I think a more recent one, for the kids. I know you have a big millennial listener base.
Oh, absolutely.
It's our base. It is absolutely our base. Yes.
With some inroads to Gen Z.
Lizzo for the people in 2018.
Not a Lizzo fan.
So as many are aware, she's had a big run here within the last year and a half, right? And in 2018, she was on one of these side stages, right? And I think that's the beauty of Lollapalooza. You have these massive stages that are meant for 150,000 people, but you can discover some really great artists at these smaller stages. Some are literally tents, man. You can't fit more than, I don't know, 1,000 people max, right? Just small,
Right.
smaller tents. In some cases, even a few hundred people. And so, part of the joy of Lollapalooza is you wander around stage to stage, you make your plan for the day, but in the true spirit of music and spontaneity, you might see something that catches your eye or a sound that says, you know what, I want to go stick around at this stage. And so Lizzo, I had never heard of her, and just much like in the way I just, we just talked about Gary Clark, right? You don't have to love her, you don't have to hate her, but just somebody that for the 45 minutes, man, just took you to a whole different place. And Lizzo, I can't imagine, had a massive following walking into that show. But by the end, she's got 30, 40,000 people just dancing their asses off, loving every second of what she's doing up there. So that's more of a more recent one. That right up there with, as far as just pure impact, and this is kind of cheesy, Bruno Mars, man. Um,
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, he's talented,
Oh,
man. You
he's
can't.
oh
talented
my
as hell.
God. You
Yeah,
talk about transcending, like that guy touched everybody in a very safe and chaste way,
yeah.
over an hour and 45. And you're just seeing fields of people, regardless of race, creed, gender, just dancing, having at the time of their lives, man. So I mean, that was pretty nice here within the last few years as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's you know what I mean because he really hasn't came out with anything in the last few years. I forgot because like even when he did the Super Bowl, I mean he's a hell of a performer.
Yeah,
Good voice. I
yeah.
mean he
That's
plays
good
several
voice.
instruments too, right? I mean, yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah, I
Definitely.
mean the guy just absolutely. I mean he can dance, he can sing, he can play multiple instruments. Getting back to his singing, I mean, dude's always coming correct. And just Dave, you'd mentioned earlier about just that pure energy, right? I mean
Yeah.
that dude's got it.
yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think when he was on like the Grammys or something like that, and he did something. I mean, you're getting jacked up and energized like watching him on TV. So the live show is just that much more. I mean, you're physically there, so you can really kind of pick up all that energy. So yeah, I can totally see that.
Oh hell
Paul
yeah.
McCartney was great because you just don't know how much longer you're gonna have Sir Paul. And that was, I want to say, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. But he came through, did Lollapalooza. And how can you turn down enjoying a Beatle? I don't certainly don't think his voice is very strong anymore. But
He's like 105, isn't he? I mean,
agree.
the dude's.
Right, it doesn't have to be.
I know. Fucking Ringo's gonna outlast them all.
Isn't that hilarious that
Yeah,
of all
it
the
is
Beatles?
hilarious. It's like he's the one that got shit on the most, and he's gonna be the last one.
I've had this conversation with people before. How crazy it is that all the Beatles have either died or, I mean, aged relatively gracefully, whereas the Rolling Stones, who did every drug, had sex with anything that moved, have been able to stay together and still tour across the world at this time frame. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like it just boggles the mind.
I mean, the flip side of that's like Motley Crue. I mean, look at those motherfuckers. I mean, they're still going. They're all still alive, and they were snorting ants on the fucking sidewalk on a bet.
They were injecting liquor. Like
Yeah,
literally injecting it.
they're dying and coming back from death and still playing.
Fair. Well
I don't
played.
get it. Ozzy Osbourne. There's another one. I
Yeah.
mean,
Some of those guys.
that
Man,
fucking. I mean,
yeah.
they're just. I think they're just preserved. There's so many chemicals in them. It's just like the body's like, I can't fucking do anything. I'm trapped in all this chemicals. I can't age.
That's
so
fair.
I got to ask at Lollapalooza because I've seen it on TV and it looked pretty cool. How about my boy Modest Yahoo? Does he put on a good show?
Modest Yahoo. So what was interesting about Modest Yahoo said, if I recall correctly, I might have to look it up. Is first of all, I have seen Modest Yahoo open for others. Gosh, I cannot recall. It wasn't Dashboard Confessional. But
Thank God. Jesus.
No, he's not that emotional.
Modest Yahoo did open up for another artist, and it's just destroying me now to not remember it. But Modest Yahoo's not bad, dude. That guy's super talented. It's just I remember the last time I saw him at Lollapalooza, they put him on one of those like weird like 2:30 in the afternoon sets on like a Saturday, so it's hot as shit, and so people are just
Oh
like, "Fuck
man.
it, Modest Yahoo, I'm good."
Modest Yahoo.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the most notables. Right? You asked me about good ones, man. LCD Sound System. I don't know if anybody here is a fan of those guys.
That's what
Uh,
I can think of the name. I can't picture the group though.
it's very much dance music.
No, not
Oh
with a
yeah.
name like that.
Oh,
I was thinking it's
right.
kind of
LCD Sound System. How
yeah,
could one?
exactly.
How could
I was
one?
I was
Uh,
thinking it was like classical or something.
Yeah, oh, Chance the Rapper in 2013, if I recall correctly, he played a very small. You talk about, again, you talk about watching artists progress. Chance the Rapper started his Lollapalooza run, despite now being a multi-platinum, very famous artist in the hip hop community. He played a stage that was meant for no more than 3,000 people in 2013.
Oh
Being
wow.
from Chicago,
Yeah, he's
just
from Chicago.
yeah, and same thing. Well, not same thing, but Lady Gaga. We talked about her earlier. She played that same stage a couple years before that. So you see these massive, massive artists on these really small stages, and the stages are meant for 3,000, but these side stages just don't get a lot of love. So it's you and like really 500 other people, just trying to figure out if you like this person or not, or this artist or this band enough. And certainly careers can take off, and it just completely changes the gamut on it. So um,
It just seems like,
it's
I mean,
tough.
that's definitely a show I want to go to because, like you're saying, so you've seen Paul McCartney there, then you've seen these little rinky dink acts nobody's heard of that 3 years later are like the biggest name in pop music, right? I remember you telling me once, um, oh, what's the dude's name? He's like, you said it, like he's the biggest right now. He's got the tattoos all over his face.
Ron Jeremy?
um,
Oh,
well,
I know what you're talking about.
I mean,
Post Malone.
he's pretty big as
Oh,
well.
dude, fucking
Post
Post
Malone.
Malone. Just absolutely. You want to talk about the biggest crowd I've ever seen at Lollapalooza? Ever, ever, ever. For any artist, which is mind blowing. We just talked about, like, I've seen Green Day there. I've seen, again, Sir Paul McCartney, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, massive acts, Arcade Fire, etc. And you would think these are multi-platinum, well-respected, critically acclaimed acts. No, no one, even Travis Scott, who everyone, especially now younger people love. No one has had a huger crowd than fucking Post Malone.
That's
Um,
crazy.
it was, I mean, it was literally shoulder to shoulder, so far back that you couldn't even see the stage. It was what I would have imagined Woodstock to be like. If you were somehow in the very final row of what Woodstock, as a festival would have been like, there's no way you're seeing anything. And same thing, dude. I could barely see the freaking screen in which he's playing on, and just the crowd is just having the time of their lives, man. It was wild, but yeah, freaking Post Malone.
So I mean,
Not a
I'm
massive
not a
Post fan myself, but
yeah.
I tell you what, dude obviously brought the peeps.
I mean, I'm just exactly like you said. I'm not a fan, but I look. Everybody else seems to think he's talented. He's not for me, but I respect it. And just like you said, but for that kind of atmosphere, I think you. How can you not enjoy that show?
Oh, agree. Oh,
Even if you're
absolutely.
like, oh, this music fucking sucks, but look at this fucking party, you know.
Yeah, it was wild, dude. In fact, because I mean, maybe it's a generational thing, but I just didn't really even know Post Malone, right? I know, Mike, you've got kids, so that
Yeah.
influences a little bit of what you're exposed to. I really had no idea who this Post Malone cat was. I wander over there, and boy, did I find out quickly.
um, I guess another question. We probably need to wrap up here. So you've seen it over the age, over the last decade or whatever. How has the audience changed? Like,
Oh,
is like
that is a
yeah,
tremendous question.
yeah. So
Um,
how's that changed as millennials and Gen Z are becoming the majority of that crowd now? What's that like? Or
I think
what's the differences? Yeah.
well, as they once said in Dazed and Confused. No, I'm kidding. They, you all know the quote I was going with. Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah. The high school quote. You were going with the high school quote.
yes. I wasn't going to actually recite it, but yes, yeah, that's exactly
Yes.
that's the direction.
They all say the same. Is where you're
Yes.
going with that.
We'll just go with that.
Yes.
So it has changed, though. You know what I mean? Like it's so over the time period that I've gone to Lollapalooza, um, they have actually expanded certain stages rather. What used to be a smaller stage, the dance and that kind of dance music stage, that those kind of areas have actually
Yeah.
expanded. I mean, it's gone from probably 15% of Lollapalooza to 30-40% of Lollapalooza. And as I've spoken to various people that are roughly within our age group, right, and maybe we're old fogies now, it's actually pushed a lot of people back. You look at what was available as far as headliners last year, right? These are your true headliners meant to entertain at least 200,000 people per stage. And you're looking at Ariana Grande, Childish Gambino, 21 Pilots, the Chainsmokers, right? Like it's just a different vibe. And traditionally in the past, they'd always kind of given a throwback, right? For example, I think 2 or 3 years ago they gave Metallica to the people, and there's always like a night where oldies but goodies like us can go and still enjoy ourselves in a different way, right? And just really kind of reconnect. Vampire Weekend, Jack White, just artists that we've kind of either grown up with or enjoyed over the last 10 to 15 that are coming back and still viable. Those are kind of disappearing and being replaced by various dance acts and just a different vibe, man. It's certainly changed. I don't know how it evolves going from here, right? Certainly, I get from a concert promoter perspective, you've got to promote yourself to folks that are going to buy tickets. And you also are at the mercy of who's touring, right? Let's say, we've talked about a lot of great bands tonight, but how many of those bands are really touring every year?
No, you're right.
So it's definitely changed.
Some of those bands don't have a lot left in them either. So they may have one or two arena tours left in them, and they're probably kind of coming to the end of the run.
Bingo. So it's been interesting, right? Because I felt like when I started this kind of annual sojourn over the last 10, 11 years, I felt like I fit in just fine. Still kind of like in the middle to the older section of it. Over the last, maybe few years, it's been like, okay, sir, I'm not looking at your daughter. She just happens to be in my field of view. I'm here as a concert goer. Hello, young children, and so on. So it's just been a different environment.
That's funny.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I feel like I'm sure every generation has gone through this, though. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
they have to.
It's just crazy to see because that tour, right? That show has just always like it was so rock heavy in the beginning. To see it just completely go away from that almost, and it's just a sign of the times. But it's crazy because I still hear that when I hear Lollapalooza, I still think of some of those rock bands from the '90s, early 2000s, or some of the classic bands.
Perry Farrell. I mean, he's the one that started it, so
yeah.
You go back to all of that.
I didn't realize he started that. Jane's Addiction, right?
Sure does.
Jane's Addiction. Yep, Perry Farrell.
In fact, there is a stage called Perry's Stage in honor of the great Perry Farrell.
He's still alive.
Sure is. What's interesting? He still performs every year in some shape or form.
Oh, yeah.
What's interesting, I think, maybe just the stage of life he's in, and I've got to assume he's still got kids of a certain age. Maybe not. I know he's been out there. He's not a young man by any shape or form, but he almost always ends up playing the kid stage. Take that for what you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean,
but yeah, he's still out there doing his thing.
Yeah, I listened to some Jane's Addiction back in the day. Dave Navarro carving it up.
Dave Navarro, he's right there with Richie Sambora. He's had some fun.
Yeah, Carmen Electra.
Yeah, I think
right there.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah, but Navarro's actually probably held himself together better than Richie.
Good point. Navarro's probably doing yoga, Pilates.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a way more spiritual guy, right? Compared to
absolutely. Yeah. Well, when you worship the devil, you can stay looking like that for a while.
I know we're trying to wrap up real quick at the end here, but let me ask you this. I know
if we don't wrap up, Brittany won't listen because these fucking things are too long for her. So
you could always do a two-parter. We could go multi-episode on this.
We could, but she
it sounds like she wouldn't listen anyways.
Yeah, it's
Right.
irrelevant if it was 20 minutes or fucking an hour and 45 minutes. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's
we got a
true.
good we got a good groove, man. What you got?
Well, what
yeah,
my question
shoot.
for you guys is, so we've talked about the good stuff, man. What is some of the worst stuff you've seen at a concert, or like what are some of the worst concert experiences you guys have had?
Oh God, I try to black those out. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Worst concert.
Really? No immediate
No, yeah,
no,
visceral
nothing
none's
reactions?
just
immediate.
coming to your mind, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
nothing's coming to my mind. I
Not,
mean, I'm thinking.
wow.
Oh, you know what was bad? I went and saw. I was a huge Boston fan, like growing up, and
Sure.
they had broken up or whatever at whatever the fuck happened to Boston, and they got back together again, but like the original lineup, and I went and saw them in fuck was it Binghamton. We drove down, like my cousin and I went, and it was like in some of his college room. I mean, he was in college. Yeah, he was a college roommate, and we drove down, and it was just the drive was awful. Um, the band wasn't they weren't that great, and I don't know. It just was, and it was it was an okay arena. It was small, um, but it's Binghamton too, and like I mean, it's Binghamton.
Fucking Binghamton.
More than a feeling didn't hit the way it used to, huh?
It did not. I mean, and I still, I mean, I listen. I mean, it comes across my like playlist every now and
Oh,
again.
they
It's,
still have.
I
I
mean,
mean, they still have some all-time greats, but
well, but and a lot of people don't know this. A lot of the technology that's being used today, like that Tom. I think his name's Tom Smoltz or something like that, or something like what the guitarist guy. He developed like all of that, like some of that technology. So, like it's from like amps and some of the pedals and stuff for that guitar players use today. Came from him. Like I think he has like an electrical engineering degree or something like that.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, it's pretty nuts that type of stuff. But I think that what comes to mind is
Was
is the
Boston? That's
is
crazy. Especially
Boston.
it's a
Yeah,
band that you love so much, clearly.
yeah.
yeah. I guess that's why it's disappointing. I mean, maybe that's why it's so bad because you have your high expectations are so high. But the first concert I ever saw was 38. It was 38 Special in Weedsport, New York, which is a racetrack. Like they dirt race there, and they had it. I remember the ads, Mike. I don't know if when you were in Syracuse, I don't know if they were still doing it, but they used to have ads on there. It's like it's not summer till they're rocking in Weedsport, and that was I mean, it was I think one of my first concerts ever. So maybe that's why it was a good one. But it was like 38 Special.
Yeah,
People were like
38
laughing when
Special
they say
had some
30.
good stuff back in the day.
Yeah, they were offshoot of family members of Leonard Skinner.
I had no idea.
I did not
See,
know
I'm
that
learning
either.
They were
tonight.
Van Zants. Some of them were
Whoa.
Van Zants.
Oh, I did not
So
know that.
Wow.
yeah, look it up. I'm a wealth of knowledge on the 38 Specials.
My first concert ever was the Ohio State Fairgrounds Aerosmith. I want to say like 1987.
Oh, they were
Yeah, so they
peaking
were
too in
still there was
'87.
still some good stuff then. Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
Love in an Elevator and all that? Whatever that album was. That would have been '87, right? Or was that later? Might have been the album before.
Oh, that's a good question. Despite my many years of music knowledge, that one escapes me.
Yeah.
So for them to
I saw
be
Aeros.
at that height of their career to be playing at the state fair, my dad had to have done that show. No, seriously, because he would bring really big bands to venues like that. He would give them a crack at it. But also it was a guaranteed sellout. So,
Yeah.
that was one thing he knew as a promoter. He knew how to sell it out. And that's the thing. He doesn't want to put somebody in a venue that's going to have, like today, right? I mean, even some of the biggest ones, mostly that's because of ticket brokers, but you still have empty seats. He wasn't putting up with that shit. So that would probably, sorry to tangent there, but go ahead.
Sorry. No, you're good. I mean, it's funny you mentioned Aerosmith. I saw them in London. We were visiting my sister-in-law, and they were at a festival in London. My brother-in-law's a huge Joe Bonamassa fan, so he was playing. So we went and saw Joe Bonamassa, but they ended the night and still moving, man. That whole Steven Tyler's rocking, Joe Perry.
Wow.
Although I was laughing a little bit because it looked like they were like waking Joe Perry up every now and again. But the dude's got to be 70. I mean, at the time he's got it easy. I mean, I'm not joking. I think he's got to be. This is 3, 4, 5 years ago, so He's probably close to 70 at that point.
No, I
Um,
do believe, yeah, because they were. I mean, that was my dad's heyday as those guys were coming up. So,
yeah.
in the '70s. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely late '60s, early '70s.
Yeah. So, but that was interesting to fly all the way to London and see Aerosmith in London at a festival, no less. So,
I've actually seen a concert in London, England,
as
uh,
opposed to London, Ohio,
as opposed to London, Ohio. Yes.
at
I feel like
You,
that's
you
much
got
better.
to
at the
clarify it for the Central Ohioan.
exactly at the
Um,
Daisy Festival in London, Ohio.
Kanye West at the O2.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Does he put on a good show?
He used to. I don't know anymore, right? Certainly. No, so
yeah.
it was interesting.
That
So
he's
I
got some
saw
of
that.
that. He's got some of that Kardashian in him now, so
That's
he's
true.
all over the board.
Recently,
Or
I
he's
will
been in some
say.
Kardashian.
Well, well, there's that. But recently, well, not recently, within the last 5, 6 years, maybe longer, somewhere in there. Have to look it up. But when he came to Columbus last, man, he had a pretty crazy stage setup. It was the show where the entire audience was underneath him, which is probably poetic in some sense. And he had a levitating stage that literally traversed the entire arena. So at any point, you could be front row or you could be back of the show, depending on where the stage moved throughout this hour and a half experience. It was wild.
Yeah,
What's the fucking insurance on that? If
Oh
that
my
fucking
god!
stage breaks.
Oh, that's a great. That's a great. I didn't even think about that. My life could have ended right there.
As we exactly
That
we
is-
get older, we start thinking about these things.
That's why he married the Kardashians, to cover the insurance bill.
Exactly. He's like, you know what? Actually, you know what he's thinking? If I can bang a Kardashian, I can definitely do this levitating stage because I've met everything that I'm going to meet. So
I saw him in Chicago when he created an inside mountain. He brought out a mountain inside of the arena.
isn't he? He's from Chicago. Though,
He is
isn't
from
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was a pretty great show. It was Kendrick Lamar was his opener.
wow.
For
Wow.
modern hip hop fans,
Yeah.
it was Kendrick Lamar as his opener, and he was, of course, it was his show, Chicago style. It was jardinera peppers on it and everything. And,
upside down thick crust pizza.
That was a joke specifically for Dave. Anyways, and
Jardinera, that's awesome.
I knew you'd like that. But
little Portillo, did he have any Portillos there as well too?
Just freaking hot dogs for days.
Exactly. No, that's his wife. Boom! Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah,
there
we are.
It all comes full circle.
But he actually
we'll shit on the Kardashians one way or another.
he had a mountain. He had a freaking mountain on the inside of a freaking arena, and at one point on the show, he's at the top of the mountain, and all of these disciples are coming up the mountain in full
Jesus Christ!
Oh, dude, literally, you got it. And
yeah, Jesus walks.
Yeah. There you go.
And,
was he the Christian Jewish Jesus Christ or the Jewish Jesus Christ?
Great question. Not sure. Indecipherable.
I'm probably going to go with a Christian because he's just a prophet to the Jews, so they wouldn't have been following him.
I once went to Baltimore for the Watch the Throne tour, where it was Kanye and Jay-Z together, and that was a great. I mean, I guess where you're relating to Kanye is a good concert experience. I will say, every time I've gone to a show, there's something memorable, right? You talk about great shows and all that. So the Watch the Throne tour, that joint album he did with Jay-Z, they went on an entire tour where they were on both levitating and extending stages that had LED screens on the side. And it would just it was almost like a big, massive freaking Tetris column, right? Where it just goes up and down. And so each would be on their respective side of the arena, full open atmosphere in the middle. So they would do songs together, sometimes on the same side of the arena, sometimes on opposite sides of the arena, or they would go back and forth based on their own single artist songs. So over the course of 3 hours, you're getting almost like 2.5 concerts, right? Because you're getting a Jay-Z show, you're getting a Kanye show, and they're doing songs from the album together that they just put out at the time. So I will say Kanye West, as crazy as a dude as he can be, puts on a hell of a show.
I think there's a little bit of he's crazy like a fox. I mean, seriously. I mean, I think he's a super smart guy. I mean, he goes way overboard at times, but I mean, some of it I do believe is calculated. Just my opinion.
Oh, for
I can't
sure. I
say
mean,
I can't. What's happening right now, I can't say is, but I do think that.
one time I was at a show in Baltimore area. It was called Virgin Mobile Fest. It was a free concert festival with massive. So it's Virgin Mobile. They're trying to expand their brand. Obviously, it hasn't gone that well.
Who?
Uh, but they did a free festival in Baltimore area, and it's escaping me now with regards to the racetrack they were on. It's one of the spots for the I thought it was Triple Crown. But Kanye had to go against Nine Inch Nails, and I remember him two things. One, I feel like if I recall correctly, he got eaten by a monster on stage. Like he had like this thing in the background that ate him, like a Guar show, like a Guar concert where like they have like freaking beasts and
Oh
shit,
wow.
and it ate him and it spat him back out later in the show. Thank God. But I remember him going on like a very tame version of the stuff we see now on the internet, where he just goes on these tangents, and he was talking about how he loves Trent Reznor, right? Nine Inch Nails, he loves Trent Reznor, and he can't believe that concert promoters would create conflict between him and Trent. Why would you put me against an all-time great like Nine Inch Nails when you know that fans like you want to see both? And it hurts me as an artist to have you have to only watch me when you could be watching Trent. And like he just went on this whole spiel, and I remember thinking like, that was really weird. You're kind of insane. I love what you're doing, but I need you to go back to rapping and singing and doing your thing.
Yeah. I did not pay to get in here to listen to you talk.
Correct.
So
You're right.
Correct.
We also paid for Trent Reznor.
yeah. Exactly. It would be great if Trent Reznor was doing the same speech.
Did you guys know, first and foremost, Trent Reznor is from Ohio? Don't know if you
Yeah.
knew that.
I did not know that. I know Dave Grohl
Secondly,
was from Steubenville.
Yeah.
Yeah, and secondly, Trent Reznor also, much like Brandon from the Killers, is like a total of 5 feet tall.
Really?
Yeah, so
There's
at a I was at, it was one of it wasn't Lollapalooza. Oh gosh, I can't remember what show I was at. It was an outdoor concert festival atmosphere. It might have been Virgin Mobile again. It had to have been. Henry Rollins was on stage earlier in the day.
Henry Rollins. Wow.
Yes, tremendous show. Just pure punk energy. And my buddy that was with me is like it gets all weird on me, and I was like, dude, what's your fucking problem? He goes, look to your right, and I'm like, well, before I turn, what am I looking at? Like, what am I looking for? There's a whole crowd full of people. He goes, no, but seriously, like 5 feet away from you, look to your right. No shit, Trent Reznor and his wife, just hanging out, watching Henry Rollins, man, just having the time of their lives. And I'm not a big like, oh, celebrity, let me go hunt them down, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're in the middle of a moment, I'm not going to interrupt that, right? He wants to watch a Henry Rollins show just like I do. Yep. But it was crazy, man. I looked over and I was like, oh my god, he's a midget. He's like, I know, it's crazy, right? And so it was pretty wild, dude. Watching Henry Rollins with Trent Reznor, good times.
That's pretty pimp. You know what though? I'm the same way, man. I'm not autograph guy. I'd much rather, if you're close enough to have a moment, sweet. If not, who fucking cares? Like you said, they're here to have a good time too.
I was on an elevator with Jay-Z in Easton.
Wait, what?
I didn't.
Yeah.
And my buddy had his wedding was at the Hilton in Easton.
Yep.
Right there, that big massive Hilton. And the same night Jay-Z was must have been doing a concert down in Ohio State. That's what I assume anyway, or somewhere in the city. And his tour bus was parked in the breezeway or the portico of the Hilton. And everybody's like, it's Jay-Z, it's Jay-Z, it's Jay-Z. I'm like, okay, great. But my room key wouldn't work. Something was wrong with the lock. But I kept going down and they keep giving me new room keys. And I went to get on the elevator, and Jay-Z's on the elevator with two of his bodyguards. And it's like 2 a.m. And he I had my suit on, but I had taken the tie and kind of pulled it down, unbuttoned the top of my shirt. Jesus, fashion, he's trying to like a fashion guy, or has those moments. And he just says to me on the elevator, just says to me, "Hey, you need to fix your tie." And I'm like, And I'm like, what? He's like, you need to fix your tie. And this was the rumors were that he was dating Beyonce. Like that was the big. Everybody's like, he's dating Beyonce. They're together, and then neither side was acknowledging it at the time. But that was a huge rumor mill. And you guys know what a smart ass I am. I'm not joking. I'm 100% dead serious. I was 2 seconds away from going, well, Beyonce likes it. But in my, I'm not, and I'm being dead serious. I mean, I told my wife after I got off the elevator, and he was just chilling. I mean, he had he's done with his concert. It's a long night. He's just trying to go to get some rest or whatever. He's got 2 bodyguards on there, and bigger than he was. He wasn't very much bigger than me, from what I can remember. At least it didn't seem like he was that much bigger. Maybe he is. I don't know.
I mean, he's not a big guy. He's kind of tall though,
no,
isn't he? But I mean, he's not.
Maybe.
Like
No. Yeah, I meant like height wise. I don't think he was
okay.
very much taller than me. I could be wrong though. And we got to my floor because he was going up to I think he probably had the whole top floor of the hotel. And I just said, "Hey man, it was a real pleasure to meet you." And I shook his hand, and he's like, "Yeah, pleasure to meet you too." And I got off the elevator. So real just laid back dude. But he just got done with a concert. He's probably exhausted. So that's my only claim to fame. My only brush with celebrity, as they say.
Really? Mike,
Yep.
Mike, you got any celebrity meetups? I know this is off topic, but
All right, so I can give you a couple. One is before I would have known, but so
I don't know if that counts.
I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah, you're like, fuck you, man. I'm gonna do it.
This is
Marshall Mathers,
bastard. No, so when I was born, I was in Billboard magazine. So a year later, for my
like all nude and whatnot with flowers, like an Ann Getty's baby, or what?
Full dong. Just a little blurb because
on the cover
because my dad was a concert promoter. So for my first birthday party, David Copperfield wanted to be the entertainment.
Whoa.
But my dad used to manage David Copperfield. He wanted to bring cameras and make it a production, and my dad was like, "No, fuck you." Like at that time, people were kidnapping, people's kids and just getting money and giving them back. But so my dad wanted no part of that. So that's one kind of cool thing that David Copperfield thought I was a good enough looking kid, which obviously changed, but a good enough looking kid that he wanted to do a special at my birthday party.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. And then so I'm going to go in a different direction. To me, this is one of the most famous names because of his significance. But probably the most, it was a guy by the name of Bill Graham, who,
oh yeah,
the biggest concert promoter of all time. He was one of my dad's business partners. So I refer to him as Uncle Bill. So that, is pretty cool because, as the older I got, unfortunately, he passed away when I was still pretty young. To realize the cultural significance of the Fillmore and the Fillmore, Fillmore East and, all, the huge shows he was a part of. Like, that was a guy I was actually pretty close with. So that's pretty freaking cool.
And here I thought you were going to tell me Billy Graham, the evangelical.
Yeah. I do not think he would have given me the time of day.
That is pretty cool, though, to your point, with regards to the Fillmore.
Yeah. I mean, that's, so again, like, is he the most famous that I've met? No. But just of significance, hell yeah. And then at the national championship game, I met Bill Walton, and I thought that was the greatest freaking thing.
Dude, wait, he was at that game?
Yeah. So we're sitting there. Actually, my wife was in the bathroom, and I'm sitting there, and he's just got that deep voice, and he said something, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" And actually, yeah, never mind. I don't remember the other guy's name, but yeah. So I'm just like, "Oh, Bill Walton." He's like, gives me kind of a wave, and I'm just like, I just looked at the guy beside me. I'm like, I just said hello to Bill Walton. Like, at this point, I could give a fuck about the championship game.
I love it. Why was he there? I mean, clearly he has no connection to either school, right?
No, you're right, because he went to UCLA. So I have no idea but he was there. He is a massive man.
Oh, I'll bet.
I mean, just fucking 5'8". So I'm looking up at him. I'm just like, and so my wife comes back from the bathroom, and I'm all excited, and she's like, "Who's fucking Bill Walton?" I'm like,
Oh my
no, you
God.
don't get it.
I looked over the stall. I saw all of him, and he is tremendous.
And it does it does tap his knee when he walks. It's incredible.
I
So
looked over the partition and I saw Jesus. That's all I'm saying.
so how about you, man? What's yours?
I've been actually super lucky in this sense. I'd say, well, there's one where, as far as claim to fame, non-musical was the Magic Johnson experience out in San Diego, where I
Oh
got a
yeah,
chance
that's
to,
sweet.
we got the hookup there,
Hell yeah.
through work, etc. From a musical experience, I remember when I was a aspiring musician myself in high school, um, and we went to a Lincoln Park show. Um, and it was probably about 2099 area, right when they started. And it was still when they were coming out after shows to meet and greet all of their audience members that were sticking around. And I remember talking to Mike Shinoda. I said, "Hey, dude, like I want to someday do what you do. Like this means a lot to me." Um, and he said, "So what are you trying to do to get there?" And we talked about, and one of the guys that was in a band with me was like, we talked about, we're doing demos, we're doing that. And he goes, "Here, let me give you a tip. Things are moving to electronic music as far as like," and he didn't mean like EDM. He was talking about like, as far as distribution, right? Sending a
Yeah.
person a demo was going out. You need to be sending them like links to streaming sites. And I know there wasn't a lot back in the late 90s, right? But even like a MySpace. He talked about, building an online presence, and also sending them digital files. Don't send them cassette tapes, man. They're not listening to that. Find ways to send them digital files of what you're doing. And he goes, because that's where music's going. That's the way people are listening to music, at least at upper levels of the music industry. And just continue to hone your craft. And he introduced me to every member of Linkin Park that night.
Oh wow, that's
Um,
sweet.
I to this day I have a drum stick signed by the entire band. Every single member of the band signed it, and he was so, it was like having a big brother. Like I literally just met the guy. Talk about like, like, hey, here's what this guy, here's what he brings to our band. Like you got to find the right people to collaborate with and just continue to grind. He talked about, and it was very much it was a strange coaching session from a guy that I never met in my life. um and all I had shared with him was that I had a dream, man. So that was absolutely tremendous. um and that's from a pure like music production and writing perspective. The second thing, it was a very nice little romantic story. Thankfully, my wife's upstairs because it was in a relationship far beyond she and I ever becoming in contact with each other. But a gentleman by the name of Jason Mraz, um, I went to a show of his in Cleveland, right? And I met,
Wow.
yeah, exactly.
Fucking Jason Mraz,
Yeah.
Dashboard Confessional.
I think
Fucking A.
Dawkins, I mean,
I've
we've hit some pretty embarrassing shit on this.
no kidding. My fucking testosterone level just dropped by like 38 points.
I gave you a Lincoln Park in the middle, god damn it, and a Trent
Yeah,
Reznor. But so I met. It was before his release. It was during the tour of his release of his second album. Um, and I met him in Cleveland. So it was funny. Me and a buddy go up to Cleveland. We go to this Jason Mraz show, and this random chick grabs us in a very chaste and very, professional way, but says like, "Hey, would you guys like to meet Jason Mraz?" And like, well, we're here at the show for him, for absolutely. And I, I'm a skeptical. I'm a cynic. And I was like, what do I got to do? Like, I'm not interested in signing up for anything. Like, I don't know what you're what your ask is. And she goes, I need you to just trust me. If you sign this waiver and follow me, you'll get to meet the man. And I said, are you sure you're not going to like beat and rape us in this alley? Like, I'm very sketchy on this, because part of it was that we had to leave the venue. And I'm like, there's no reentry. Like, if I leave here, I'm definitely not going to see him unless like this is legit. And she goes, would you quit being a puss and just come with me? And I was like, fuck, fine, let's go. So interestingly enough, before I had left Columbus, I had written on the back of a business card my name, the girl I was seeing, her name, and our favorite song. I don't know what inspired me to do it. I just did it. I put it in my back pocket. And so we go through, and it's a meet and greet for fucking Jason Mraz, the local radio station in Cleveland that was promoting that show. They had some concert winners that didn't show up. So of course they need to build buzz. They want to take pictures of people talking about the show, et cetera, et cetera. So they had empty slots, and they just, luckily enough, they grabbed me and my buddy. And so I do a meet and greet with Jason Mraz. There's actually pictures of us taken. I don't know if they're still on the internet, but they were for this radio station for a while. And I grab him and I say, hey man, I'm going to go to your show in Cincinnati tomorrow with my girlfriend. Would you mind doing me a massive favor? He goes, sure, I'll do whatever. And I said, here's my business card. Look on the back. It's my name, her name, and our favorite song. It was a song he hadn't played on tour for years. I mean, because I was a deep Jason Mraz fan. Again, we're revealing a lot of stuff here amongst the three of us, and anyone that chooses to listen. I had his original demos and shit from San Diego when it was just him and a guitar. So clearly I'm really into guys, just a guy and a guitar, just sharing their feelings.
No kidding.
Right?
Wow.
And he says, dude, I would be thrilled to do it. Now keep in mind, the man is going to play the fucking Cintas Center the next night. He's doing the House of Blues in Cleveland. He's doing the Cintas Center in Cincinnati. I'm like, there's no fucking way the man goes out with just a guitar, completely interrupts his set to play this song. So I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. So anyways, I come back to Columbus that night. The next day I leave from Cincinnati, meet up with the girl I'm seeing at the time. And we go to Cincinnati. We do the thing. I find, so one of the people I befriended in line for this meet and greet was one of his stage crew guys. And I saw him in the arena. I saw him in the general space, and I grab him like, dude, it's, we met last night. Do you remember me? He goes, yes. He's like, what's up, man? It's good to see you. I was like, holy shit, you came 2 nights in a row? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I said, listen, Jason agreed to do something for me tonight. I don't know if he's actually going to do it, but I wrote him a thank you card, thanking him for doing it proactively. And I said, if you don't mind, please give this to Jason before he goes on stage tonight. And it was literally a thank you card for making this memory for me and my girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera. Even if you don't do it, right? Please just know that I appreciated you agreeing to do it. I know you've got your own thing. You're trying to promote your album, et cetera, et cetera. And no shit, halfway through his set, the curtains close. He step up. It's just him and his drummer on some bongos, right? And they go into, he goes, this goes out to my buddy Jason and his lady love Katie out in the crowd tonight.
I swear to God, your wife better not listen to this, or you're fucked. You are so fucked.
And he plays this fucking song. Oh my God. It was crazy, dude. It was absolutely
awesome.
Incredible.
Anal? Did you get anal?
Well, no.
On that one?
No. I mean, it's not that incredible. But yeah, dude, like he fucking killed it, man. It was incredible. I just couldn't believe it.
Your wife cannot listen to this episode.
No, she actually already knows that story. She doesn't love that story naturally. But
yeah,
but she doesn't love the story, but she knows the story.
Yeah, fucking tell it. Go ahead.
I fucking dare you to tell it. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
yeah, please.
Dude, that's awesome though. That's an awesome story.
Oh my God. Like you talk about like just kind of just magical moments, dude. It's okay. She's got her story with Dave Chappelle. Nothing dirty, but like she did her bridal shower in Yellow Springs. He was at the same venue, and he offered his congratulations, etc. So she's got her own moment. It's fine. Everyone's got their moment.
I mean,
Dave Chappelle offers congratulations. You have an ex-girlfriend called out at a national arena. It's a little different. And I love Dave Chappelle. And Marantz is talented, but
did she snort a line off his dick? I
mean, exactly. That's the only way this thing equals out in the long run. There's no fucking way. Like, hey, Dave Chappelle said, congratulations, I'm getting married. Really, because my ex-girlfriend had her name called out in front of 40,000 fucking people.
Do you know how much?
And he played a song for her that he had. Yeah, he played a song for her he hadn't done in 30 years. It's amazing. There's no way those two fucking equal. And I love Dave Chappelle.
Tomato, Dave. Tomato.
Oh man,
she's cool with it. She said hello to Dave Chappelle once.
She had her moment. She had 5 seconds with him. It's cool.
Yeah, that's like me saying you had your moment. You were on the elevator with Jay-Z, like for fucking 13 seconds.
Oh man, this was good shit, man. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
looking at the time,
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel like we've been going at it for this long.
No, I
No.
agree.
That's what my wife says.
Whoa! Hey now.
Oh, boom!
Boom!
Yeah,
Boom! What a way to end it.
I know. Well, I'm on this. I'm on the rant from the fucking Marantz version to Dave Chappelle. Hello.
No, I mean, Jason, thanks for coming on, man. This is why we love having you on, man. It's always a good time.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks, man.
great,
Thanks,
great
guys.
storyteller. I couldn't think of anybody that would be better to have this conversation with, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Anytime,
Yeah.
again, tell your talent booker to call me whenever he feels like it, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll have him text you. We'll have one of them text you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Man. Thanks for coming on. I think when we talked about concerts, I think we were gonna do concerts last week, and Mike was like, "Oh no, we got to get Jason on. You have to get Jason on." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then we texted you last week, and you're like, sorry, it was date night or something.
Yeah. See, I'm still making up for that fucking story.
Yeah, exactly. There's fucking date night everywhere.
So,
all right, man. So, but no. So I'm glad you could join. Definitely, it was a good time.
Awesome.
So,
all right, guys.
So that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
Mike. Thanks, Jason. Later.